Want to have your very own free-range egg farming business? Welcome to Green Grass Egg Farming Podcast with Daniel O'Brien, the show dedicated to giving you the latest tips, ideas and interviews to help you produce the best tasting free-range eggs and sell your eggs for the highest price. And here's your host, Daniel O'Brien.
Hello and welcome. This is Daniel O'Brien and welcome to Green Grass Egg Farming Podcast. This is a brand new podcast. It's something I have wanted to do for a while, is have a podcast, and it is finally happening. So in episode 1, the very beginning right now, I wanted to share with you a bit of my vision, a bit of my story, and also like why I wanted to start a podcast and who's it for. So really the people it's for is someone that wants to start a pastured free-range egg farm, or for someone who's already got one and they just want some tips and ideas to improve that. So what is pastured free-range egg farm opposed to a normal free-range egg farm? So in my definition, if you go to a supermarket, and probably now anywhere around the world, and you pick up a dozen eggs and they say free-range eggs, I've come to realise a long time ago that doesn't mean much. It means chickens are probably not in a cage. Hopefully they've got access to outside, but chickens eat grass, so they've got access to outside. And if they're in a stationary shed, where most egg farms would have a stationary shed, the chooks eat all that grass down, and then they're running on dirt. So I call them a dirt farm. Yes, they're free range. Yes, they can go outside most of the time, and they can get a little bit of sunshine, but they're not running around on grass, not green rolling hills and gentle music playing in the background. So what is a pastured free-range egg farm? Well, in my opinion, it's a farm that has a movable shed. I haven't found a really good free-range egg farm that can keep grass up to the chickens sustainably out of a stationary shed. The only time I have seen it is very small numbers, more hobby farm, maybe like 20 or 30 hens. But if you go over 100 hens, I have not seen it done. So pastured free-range egg farming, in my opinion, is chickens in a movable shed that are being moved across the landscape over fields that have hopefully lots of grass in them. So that's what pastured free-range egg farming is, in my opinion. So I really want to make this podcast for those people. If that's you and you're interested in that, well, it's probably you've found the right podcast. We will, or myself will be conducting interviews, trainings, case studies, just any tips or ideas to help people farm sustainably. It's something which I am passionate about. I love growing my own veggies. Like, I love being in the kitchen cooking food. And I think the more people that can create sustainable food systems, the better. That's how we're going to change the world. I don't think we're going to change the world by turning up to shut down cage farms rally and trying to shut them down. I think you change the world by grabbing an idea and say, I'm going to take action and do something about that. And I think if I can help you do that, that's awesome. So anyway, if you're listening and you have no idea who I am, I'm going to share a bit of my story. At about 14 or 15 years of age, Mum and Dad got me 6 chooks. I wanted some chooks. It was just something in me. It's not like I grew up with chooks from 5 years of age. Like, I had some chooks that are growing up when I was quite young, and then we didn't have them for like 10 years or something. And it was just something in me. I wanted some chooks. And even back then I used to like grow veggies and such, just love being outside, creating food. So I bought me 6 chooks, and I just sort of fell in love with it. And me being sort of a little entrepreneur back then, I'm like, if these things lay eggs, I could sell eggs. So that's where I just looked, hey, this is awesome. It's like a business that's sort of walking around eating grass, and I give them food and they give me eggs and I can sell eggs. So I was just so stoked just to learn heaps about chickens. That was probably when I was 15. Then I got a few incubators and a rooster, and then started like hatching fertile eggs and selling those chickens at farmers markets. Fast forward to when I was about 19 or 20 years of age, I got the opportunity to work on a pastured free-range egg farm. So this was a farm with movable sheds like I just talked about. And they moved these sheds across the landscape. It was a dairy farm. And it was just a great opportunity to go, oh, this is someone doing it right. When I was working in that farm, and probably a lot of people could relate to this, I could see a lot of things that, yes, the system, the concept was working brilliantly of having the hens-on-grass movable shed, but the actual shed itself, it wasn't heaps user-friendly. So I sort of had some ideas of like, oh, I'd like to do this myself and do it and do it my way. And I'm sure you might be able to relate to that. Like you work for someone else, you go, oh, if I owned the company, I'd change this and this and this. So it was a few years later when I was about 24 years of age, I thought, I want to have a crack at this. Pardon the pun. I want to start my own free-range egg farm. So at 24 years of age, I didn't have $1 million behind me where I could just go out and buy a farm. So I literally approached a farmer and I said, you've got some land. I've got this concept with chickens. I want to put them in mobile sheds. Am I able to lease some of your land? Could we come to some agreement? And being a farmer who was sort of forward thinking and was very interested in sustainability, he's like, yeah, we could work something out. So anyway, I got some chickens and I got them at day old because the farm was certified organic. So if you start a certified organic farm, you need the chickens from day old. So got day old chickens and growing them up on the farm. And just before they started to lay, we end up making a partnership, myself and the farmer. So we sort of owned the business 50-50. And around that same time, my brother helped me make some sheds because he's got a bit more of an engineering mind than I do. So I said, I need some sheds. They need to be mobile and I want some cool stuff in them. Like I want roll-away nesting boxes, and so I don't have to walk along the whole length of the shed. I want to build I want a conveyor belt in there. And I didn't know anywhere in the world that had done this. And when you're sort of young and naive, you just think, we'll just sort of go out and do it. And we did. We made heaps of mistakes. And so in that time, that's when we built the chicken caravan. And we went on to sort of sell chicken caravans to other farmers. I built that business up, was selling eggs all over the place, getting really good feedback. And we had these sheds, these chicken caravans that we built for ourselves. And someone said, you should sell these to other farmers. And the way I looked at the shed was, I wasn't really looking at the budget of how much it cost to build the shed, because I knew firsthand after working at another farm, if you've got a shed that is not user-friendly and the hens are sitting in there at night and they're pooping and you got dirty eggs, then you're washing eggs, you'll spend heaps of money on labour. So I'm like, let's just spend the money up front on a really good shed and then we save it on labour. So when someone said, you should sell these sheds, I'm like, they're going to be like $30,000 each. Like, I don't know if people would be willing to buy them. Like, I'd be willing to buy them because I understand. And I thought, well, hang on, we've put like a lot of energy into these sheds. So we did a little bit of marketing and we sold one shed to Farmer Brown's Free Range out at Dunedoo. That's in Western New South Wales, Australia. And they bought a shed. And what that started for me, like I knew what worked on our farm, setting up a free-range egg farm on pasture from scratch. And now to be working with another farm and having sort of the chicken caravan out there and getting their feedback of what they do and how they do things differently. So that was it really took my knowledge level to the next level, because I think with any farmer, you know what works for you. But you go to a farm that's 1,000 kilometres away, they've got different climates and rainfall and their seasons change different and whatever. And about 6 months after that, we sold another one into Gippsland, Victoria, which was probably about 1,500 kilometres away, so a fair distance away and a lot colder climate than we're at and very windy. So we sort of learnt different things there. So, and then since then, we've sold chicken sheds all over the place, like to every state of Australia. And again, like I was saying after we sold the first one, it really raised my awareness and knowledge of free-range egg farming, because suddenly I found myself in WA, almost in a desert where they get almost no rainfall, and starting an egg farm over there. And then up in Queensland and Victoria and South Australia and all throughout the country, and all different climates and microclimates, and also marketing eggs and such. So that knowledge, it was great for me just to learn. Like I just loved learning and just seeing different farms. Like I don't enjoy anything more than going to a new farm and go, oh, what's your rainfall? And like hopping on the quad bike and going down the paddock and just seeing their farm. So that's my story, and we're going to have lots more stories, interviews, case studies, and trainings coming up in future episodes. Please subscribe on iTunes so you get all the updates, and also share this podcast if you know anyone else that can benefit from this podcast or some of our up-and-coming ones. Please share that, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Green Grass Egg Farming Podcast. For transcripts and other free resources, please go to greengrasseggfarming.com.